founder and CEO of Kapruka, Mr. Dulith Herath. A very good evening to you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so Kapruka will just in 12 years of being in Sri Lanka, being around, Kapruka has evolved to be a leader when it comes to e-commerce. When you say Kapruka, everybody knows about it. They're thinking about flowers, teddy bears, chocolates, cakes, you name it, from A to Z. It's like Amazon from A to Z. You have Kapruka offers everything. So tell us a little bit about e-commerce, what it means first. Let's talk a little bit about definitions. How would you define e-commerce?
The definition of e-commerce. Well, technically it means any commercial transaction that's done online it's e-commerce. It could be for buying a product, or it could be getting a doctor's appointment, or it could be getting a movie ticket. So any transaction that was completed online is technically e-commerce. And the good thing is, we are open 24/7 when it's a website.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the history of it, what sort of trend it has been. Before we come to Sri Lanka, let's talk about the international trends.
International trends in e-commerce. Well, for the last 10 years, I think I can see three trends. Primary trend is that it's becoming more important about the experience that you get online than the product itself. See, few years ago, not few, maybe let's say 5 years ago, when you order a product online, you would wonder whether you will get the right product, or whether there will be a color mismatch, or can I trust this website? Can I trust this website with my credit card? All that. But now it's almost like, no, you're going to get the right product. It's a matured market. You're going to get the right color. But will I get it fast enough? Will I be able to, if something's wrong, is there good customer service? So the aftermath of the transaction, after the order, the experience has become a very important part of e-commerce. So that's one trend that I'm strongly seeing. And then the second trend is, see, e-commerce has become too easy. Maybe 5-6 years ago, it was pretty hard to get it together and start an e-commerce company. But it's like a one-week thing now. You can start up a website in almost no time. So because it has become too easy, it comes back to my first point, where the experience is the difficult part for people to do in order to stay sustainable in this market. So I said three things. The third trend is how easy it is to market products online, how cheap it has become to bring a brand or launch a product because of social media and because of other digital advertising options that we have today. It has become very easy. So those are the primary three trends I'm seeing globally.
All right, so those are the few trends you're talking about globally. Let's move on to a little bit about Sri Lanka, because it took Kapruka a very, very few years to move from a humble website running from one single laptop to 200 people employed, very, very established firm. Let's talk about the evolution of the industry in Sri Lanka. What sort of trends have you seen there?
Sri Lanka, the primary trend that I've been seeing is there have been a lot of webs. Okay, for example, 8 years ago, I remember opening up a spreadsheet, creating a few tabs and saying, here are the market players in Sri Lanka for e-commerce. And I went online. I already knew a few, and there was 3. That's all I could come up with. It was that immature 8 years ago. I looked at that spreadsheet today in the morning after you invited me for this interview, and it is up to 80 plus. So it is really catching up. But the trend that I'm seeing is, a few years ago, it was all the websites that were out there in Sri Lanka were very informational based. They were based on, let's say, take the Hilton website. It used to be about their services and about the hotel and the brand. But now, if you go to it today, you can book a room, you can book a meal, you can pay for, you can do a lot of things. There are a lot of transactional parts that are built into Hilton website right now. So it is a transformation from informational websites are now having functionality. So that's the main thing that I'm seeing in Sri Lanka. That all the big brands that's been in Sri Lanka, brick and mortar shops, they are going online that way because there used to be a catalog website. Now suddenly, boom, next morning you see a buy button. And then you see the free shipping and all those things. So that's the primary trend that I'm seeing in Sri Lanka.
Any given industry has subsectors, categories, you name it. What are some of the dominant or the subsectors of the industry?
Right. It breaks into two subsets primarily. One is service-oriented, one is products-oriented. So it's a mix of things. As I said, Sri Lanka has maybe about 30% into services, and the rest of it being into products. Those are the main two segments.
Have you been observing any sort of new trends in Sri Lanka? You've been in existence for about 12 years. Trends keep changing, players keep changing, numbers keep fluctuating. What are some of the new trends that we have been experiencing?
If I give you a lot of trends, it's hard to absorb it. I'll tell you one trend.
Okay.
That is, people are becoming more and more comfortable online.
So they believe in the system, more confidence has gone up.
They believe in the system and they are okay with doing this online. That stigma is going away. So they are being comfortable. This is great news for this industry.
Let's talk a little bit about current developments. What are some of the ongoing developments in the e-commerce industry?
You mean in Sri Lanka? Or
in Sri Lanka. Let's talk about domestically first because that is of interest to us.
Right. In Sri Lanka, as I said, I'm seeing more and more brands making sure the e-commerce part, take it very seriously. There had been brands that has been brick and mortar shops in Sri Lanka for years and years who did not have an online store. So more and more, you wake up every morning, you might see a new brand. Now it is now online capable. That is one of the biggest trends locally.
You were talking a little bit about brick and mortar. What exactly is that, and how can you combine brick and mortar with click and mortar?
It's being a trendy term these days, click and mortar and brick and mortar.
What do these two terms mean?
The general thought always was this whole online thing is going to take over the brick and mortar thing. I don't think that's true. It complements each other. People still want that. See, I told you the experience is very important. So people still, there is a part of people who want to still come and pick up that box for you. So who still want to come and negotiate the warranty with you, still want to come and maybe even negotiate the price with you, even though they see it online as a fixed price. So online is not going to take over the brick and mortar for all these brands. And I am more of a supporter of the mix there.
Okay, so if I'm to ask you, you're the founder of Kapruka, why would you buy something online?
Okay, it's a good question. So I'll tell you why you wouldn't buy anything online. There are two reasons why it's very difficult to do e-commerce, okay, in Sri Lanka. One problem is to sell something online, you might have to give a very, very competitive price. So what happens when you give a competitive, very low price? You can't make money because you have given a deep discount. What happens when you can't give a discount? But when you don't make money, your business becomes not sustainable.
Yeah.
Right. So one is it's very difficult to give low discounts in order to get people to come online. Second is we need to have a large choice, a huge choice of products in order for people to go and buy it online. Let's take this pen. If I'm selling only one pen, the chances of somebody coming to my website and buying this pen online is much lower than I'm having 300 different brands of pens and different colors, right? So, but how do you have that kind of an inventory for only 20 million people? So that is the reason why it's a bit difficult. So, but if you get over these two challenges that I just told you, to recap again, having a large inventory and having a
based people are starting up a lot of companies. They're selling maybe their cakes or muffins or something. They're not office based. They do it at home. We're talking about startup challenges, so that also might be an obstacle. Let's talk about some of the setbacks or the challenges the industry faces.
The biggest setback, just like you said, that's an entrepreneur who is at home who wants to sell her cupcakes to Colombo. But she can put up the website, she can get the payment gateway integrated by someone, all that can be done. But then the delivery part and the returns or the stock and the growth part of that. So the fulfillment is a missing piece in e-commerce. So that's where that's the biggest challenge. Actually, that's a challenge that I'm trying to solve for people in Sri Lanka by giving fulfillment services of Kapruka to startups. So if you are starting up a website that is selling handbags, I should be able to do the fulfillment part for you so you can focus on your e-commerce and getting that order number.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about fulfillment later on. But before we do that, I need your comments, your views on a few factors. I'm going to give you a few factors. I want your opinion on these factors. So the first comment I'm looking from you is I want you to comment on FDI. Since the end of the war, we've been receiving a lot of inward FDI. A lot of money has been pumped into the country by the local government, the national government, internationally. What is the status of this and how content are you with it?
See, FDIs, I want to again refrain into the e-commerce market.
Okay. Yes, of course.
FDIs, people use Sri Lanka as a test market. Okay, it's a good thing. It's a great thing. Look at the Google Loon project. It's an awesome test market. So it can do two things. One is I'm a little worried whether something might kill entrepreneurship because these foreign giants injecting funds into Sri Lanka into industries that will make it very hard to compete for smaller startups. But in other than that, it's a great. My main comment is that it's a small country and FDIs are very important. Do
you think we have enough FDI coming in? Are you happy with the level that's coming in or the rate?
Yeah, because South Asian, the whole region is very attractive for this. If you take India, you see Amazon coming and investing billions in the last 2 years. If you take most South Asian countries, you see these global brands coming in and penetrating and injecting money.
So you're a man who engages with technology consistently. So of course, productivity matters to you a lot. Let's start a little bit about how you would want to define productivity and your comment on the local productivity. When it comes to this is, of course, everything is e-commerce specific, sector specific. Your comment on the level of productivity within Sri Lanka.
Productivity is key because remember I told you two problems with e-commerce: keeping the prices low. Yeah. So that is all about. When you started this interview, you said you have 200 people or 300 people. Maybe a few years ago, I would have been proudly saying, "Hey, Kapruka has 300 employees." But today, I'm shy to say that. I want to do this with 50 people.
Right. Enhance efficiency.
Enhance the efficiency and make those 50 people the highest paid in their industry. I can't solve the job problem or job market problem. But it's about creating efficiency and paying the best market rates for those highly skilled people and building systems. So I remember sometimes we spend a whole half day in a conference room at Kapruka finding out a way not to hire a new employee and create systems and give better benefits to existing people. So efficiency is key and we work very hard on it, and it's there's a good productivity gap in Sri Lanka. I mean the labor is not a big factor yet.
Okay.
So it's a plus thing.
Right, so we're talking about productivity. Something that comes in that bag of economic terms is opportunity cost, which means something needs to be foregone for something to be achieved. What is the opportunity cost that we face?
That's also a it's a variable constant. There are areas in Kapruka also that this has come into play. and it's not a big challenge in e-commerce yet.
All right, we are in conversation with the founder and CEO of Kapruka, and we want to talk to him about the future of e-commerce as well as the sustainability of it. We joined the discussion with the founder and CEO of Kapruka, Mr. Dulith Herath. We're about to enter the discussion, the future discussion, where the industry is facing, where the firm is heading. But before we go into that, I would like to ask you to define product development. You're in a constantly evolving, constantly changing industry, in constantly changing firm. You want to make sure you're compact, very, very efficient. What is product development?
I take product development very personally. It's like a new product, or when I say a product, I'm not talking about a pen. I'm talking about a whole service, a new service that we are trying to bring in. Because new products come in every day. New products get discontinued every day. But a service, I start living with that product. Okay, it's like your pet. It's like your dog in your house. You see it the whole day. You're with it. You start the day with it. You end the day with it, and then only you can really, really improve that and make that product perfect. Kapruka Global Shop, actually, if you want an example, is a product like that I lived with for the last 2 years, and it's still a puppy. And I absolutely love it. I see how it's growing up, and I know how to perfect it. So you got to live with it.
Mm-hmm. You seem to be a bit of a workaholic. Any regrets? Anything you've missed out in life? Anything you want to share with us?
Regrets. Workaholic. It's a gift. It's a double-edged sword. Okay, I work 18 hours a day, but then if you ask me, who do I belong to? I feel like I belong to the brand, or do I belong to my wife, or do I belong to my parents? But it sounds more and more like, because of these 18 hours, I belong to the brand. Right? So that's sort of a regret, because that shouldn't be it shouldn't be that way. So I want to balance off a little more, and reduce the workaholism. And my main weakness is actually delegation. Because I want a lot of things. I want to be really hands-on and go try it out myself, and that way. So I need to. That's one of the second regret.
All right. We were talking about fulfillment. What exactly is fulfillment, and how does Kapruka sort of handle this?
So that's the thing. So from the beginning, when you get that order number from your e-commerce website, when you get that order number, e-commerce ends right there. After that, you might think that it's just about putting it in a box and delivering this. It's not the case. A whole load of things happens after that. Why do I have 200 people? Why do I have 300 people? Is it to get the order? No. It's about getting the order, and what after that. It's about customer service. It's about customer service. It could be about warehousing. It could be returns. It could be the supply chain. I can list like 30 different things that you do after you get that online order. So that's fulfillment. A lot of people misunderstand it as, oh, it's delivery. No, delivery is just one little piece of fulfillment. So I'm really big into that, and I think I can help other e-commerce companies in Sri Lanka to be fulfilled by Kapruka. So that the last mile could be done by Kapruka.
All right. Speaking of what's happening in the future, anything we want to look out for? Any challenges that we might be facing?
Talking about challenges, or about look out for the Kapruka?
Let's talk about Kapruka specific, maybe opportunities first.
As I said, I have those two challenges of keeping the price low and giving a large range of a choice. So to solve that second problem, the second problem is the global shop that I want to grow, because that has, we have we might have 5 to 10,000 products at Kapruka, but can I have 50 million products tomorrow? No. But thanks to the global shop, I can give that range.
All right. So we want to talk a little bit about customer specific. From the customer's end, what sort of guarantee do we have that what you see very nicely photoshopped, maybe with the perfect lighting, perfect sort of setup, if it's not the same thing that you see when it's delivered, customer satisfaction is key. What sort of challenges do customers face, and how have you overcome those challenges?
Actually, every time a customer is unhappy, we say, okay, we will return your money and still give you a new product. We are very non-hesitant to refund. So we take it as an opportunity, and that's one way of solving failed deliveries and problematic products. And the second is, again, comes to fulfillment. If you get your ducks in a row at the fulfillment level, if you don't mix things up, we reduce that right off the bat, this problem. And if my call center says we served 1,000 calls today, I'm not happy with that. It's not about talking to 1,000. It's about getting only 100 calls.
Reducing the number.
Reducing. Don't call us. You don't have to call us. This is online. So you are happy. If you don't call us, we are happy. So that's a strategy.
Let's talk about the sustainability of it. We know it's a very lucrative field. How sustainable is it?
Again, the sustainability really depends on if you can keep the prices low and also offer a large range of products. You have to have the balance of those two things properly. Only then it becomes sustainable. Otherwise, then you might end up just running a brick and mortar shop and using your website as a catalog, and then it's not really e-commerce. You'll make money in a different way, but you're not in the market that you think you are in.
Mm-hmm. Well, the ultimate goal of any entrepreneur is to make profits. We're talking about sustainability, so you need to have profits, supernatural profits, to sustain in the long run. How profitable is this industry, not only in Sri Lanka, but generally, overall, internationally? How successful and how sustainable, profitable is this industry?
Yeah, I can tell you for sure this is a great ship to be, the e-commerce ship, okay, especially in Sri Lanka, because there's almost no competition here yet. So it's a great ship to be in, and there are hundreds of ways to cut cost and build a better bottom line. And as I said, we spend days sometimes figuring out how not to hire extra employees and automating. So those are the key things. So it's very sustainable, and even if you take the whole global market, it's a very sustainable model. But the moment it becomes, there are too many key players, it weeds off, few people stay, and they become very profitable.
Right. So to remain in the industry, you need to engage, you need to sort of be involved with the customers and clients, which is why you probably make use of social media. I want your comment on some of the pitfalls of seeing social media as a broadcast channel rather than an engagement tool.
That's a great question. People misunderstand social media when they see social media as a marketing tool. What I always believe is you use social media in its native space. So whatever you do in a market should be native to its space. One example, like for the last week, our Facebook advertising cost is 0. We stopped all our ads because we knew it was too noisy. Everybody's in the election mode.
Correct.
Everybody's, if there's no election tagline in it, you just scroll up. We realized it, we stopped all the ads, we saved thousands of dollars. And we are very sensitive to that current market situation and that medium. But in Twitter, we were active. We were in other mediums, in email campaigns, we were active. So we are very, when a plane crashes, sometimes I call and say, hey, turn off all the ads. People are now into something else.
Right.
And also people don't go into social media and these other mediums to see your advertisements. They go there for different reasons. So your advertisements or whatever you market there should be native to that space. So if you see almost all the Kapruka ads are very native to that space.
All right, so moving away from sort of the process and the chain of sort of the way it moves around, I want your opinion once again on a given set of factors. I want your comments, what you think of the following factors. Of course, the way it affects Kapruka, And by that I mean how it affects e-commerce. Role of the government. Policies dictated by the government, how important is it, and how helpful is the role of the government in Sri Lanka?
The current government from
Perhaps.
today?
Well, it's a very short space. We can't
Right.
judge them just yet. Let's talk about the recent, maybe from the start of this year. How
Right.
helpful have they been?
One of the main agencies is the ICTA agency, and I think we have a great chairman, the Mohandan Carnegie. I believe in his capacity. That's going to make some changes, and most of all, what gives me is it gives me a peace of mind. So this whole election and this setup is now more stabilized. It just gives me a peace of mind, so I can do what we are doing with less noise. Okay. And secondly, I want the government to recognize e-commerce not as a retailer. It needs to be recognized as e-commerce. Like even Kapruka.com is registered in the company registrar as a retailer. So because we didn't have a category, we still don't have a category. So we want those stuff. We want different taxation laws for e-commerce coming in. We want it looked at as a different industry, like the apparel industry, etc. It should be looked at differently.
So you are known as a visionary sometimes businessman, sometimes an entrepreneur, sometimes an investor. What is your view? What's your pulse on the current government, the change of elections as of yesterday?
Again, the most important pulse that I'm getting is less noise. It's like the rain is over. Okay, so you can get out.
All right, let's talk about the role of the private sector.
Mm-hmm.
What is your opinion on that? How important is it, and how does that link up with Kapruka?
Private sector is very. If I talk about private investors,
Okay.
You are more into investors are very keen on this market. This has become the next cool thing for investors. You know, whenever it's e-commerce, they feel like it's a good market to invest in. So I see a lot of startups coming because of investors, and that's really a good thing. I love the fact that, you know, if I see 10 startups per month, it's great, because that creates more competition, that creates more online customers. At the end, you know, it helps everybody.
All right. I want to talk a little bit about investor confidence and financial markets. Does that impact Kapruka or e-commerce by any means?
Say that again.
Maybe the role of the financial markets, treasury bonds, stock markets, investor confidence. How does that affect Kapruka?
If you look at the GDP of Sri Lanka, I think online e-commerce is less than 5%. Okay, less than 5%. It's a very small number. So these other stock market factors, etc., don't affect us that much. E-commerce is just a scratch on the table still. But the good thing about it is we have the whole table to scratch. So there's so much to do. So right now it's not that affected by those factors.
Finally, what is the message you want to leave us with tonight as an investor, as an entrepreneur?
I think I already said it. I think e-commerce is a great ship to be in. So this is a great time to jump on board before it gets too crowded. So jump on board and, you know, get into the e-commerce. If you have been thinking about, am I going to start this up, etc., I think it's a great opportunity.
All right. And with that, we'd like to wrap up this edition of Business Today. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
And we'd like to wish you and your organization, Kapruka, all the best in all your future endeavor.
Thank you.
And it's a wrap for us here at Business Today. Thank you very much for being with us. See you next week. Have a pleasant evening. Good night.